Didgeridoos are made by the native people of Australia called Aborigines. These are the native people, the original people that lived in Australia. They've lived there for many, many thousands of years. And they make didgeridoos out of eucalyptus tree trunks that are naturally hollowed out by termites. The didgeridoo is the only instrument I can think of that is actually made by bugs. The Australian Aborigines have been making this instrument for nearly 40,000 years. If you think about that, that's an extremely long time. The didgeridoo, historians believe that the didgeridoo is the world's oldest musical instrument next to the human voice. Now the natives of Australia, the Aborigines, they've been using this instrument in their tribal music, in their sacred music. They use the didgeridoo to tell stories. Much of the native music of Australia is stories about how they believe the world was created, how they believe that all the different animals and rivers and trees and rocks and things in their environment came into being. And there's a story for each one in their tribes. Each tribe has its own set of stories, and they have a story for each thing, how it was created. These stories are told by singing and chanting with didgeridoo playing behind it. And sometimes they hit sticks together like drums, but their music is just mostly singing and didgeridoo playing. But it's very complicated, but they don't have all the instruments that we have. They don't have horns and guitars and all different kinds of drums and pianos and everything. They just have didgeridoo and singing and sticks you hit together. That's all they have. And yet it's a whole musical culture. Now, many of the Australian Aborigine tribes, the native tribes, actually believe that the didgeridoo is the voice of the earth. And that idea just fascinated me from the very beginning when I first discovered this instrument. So I've created a piece of music called Voice of the Earth. So I'm going to play that for you now on the didgeridoo. So you're probably all wondering, how on earth does he get all those sounds out of a hollow piece of wood? I would wonder that. So, I'll explain some of that to you. The basic sound is just a low pitch, just a drone sound. It sounds like this. The way I make that sound is I buzz my lips, just like you do on a horn, like a brass instrument, like a trombone or a tuba. Okay? It's like this. The didgeridoo is just an amplifier. It amplifies this sound and makes it sound good. So, how on earth does he keep going? What I use is a technique that's called circular breathing. Because I'm always blowing air through the lips, but I'm still breathing through the nose to keep the air coming through my lips the entire time. The way that works is whenever I want to take a breath, I puff my cheeks up like a balloon. And then I sniff through the nose. And when I sniff through the nose, the cheeks go in and push the air out my mouth. And so the air actually never stops going through my lips. So it's a fairly simple concept, but it took me months to get this down. But I'll show you how it works. So it's just like normal breathing. I'm always getting oxygen, I'm always getting rid of stale air, and always getting rid of CO2, always getting fresh oxygen, so I don't even get lightheaded or tired with doing that. Usually can do it just until my throat dries out. So then there's all of the other sounds. Just about anything I can talk or say or sing, I can do on the didgeridoo. You can do the alphabet or the vowels. And a lot of the consonant sounds work. Then I can also sing into the didgeridoo while playing, while buzzing my lips. And that creates harmonies and chords and melodies. So that's how I get all the music out of this. So if I combine all of those techniques, I can create all kinds of music. Now I see lots of hands up. That's really cool. I know you guys have all kinds of questions. And we'll have time later on for people to ask questions. So, but I'm going to show you how combining all these sounds can make really fun music. Here we go. so cool. Yeah. Okay. So just some more information on the didgeridoo. No two didgeridoos sound alike. No two wooden didgeridoos sound alike, I should say. And so I'm just going to show you this demonstration of nearly all musical instruments are like this. Longer instruments make lower sounds. Shorter or smaller instruments make higher sounds. That's true of the didgeridoo. This is a shorter didgeridoo. This is a longer one. Listen to the difference in sound. This one's a lot lower. All right. Now I talked a little bit ago about the Australian Aborigines that have made this didgeridoo out of eucalyptus. The last two didgeridoos I played and the very first didgeridoo I played, those are all termite hollowed eucalyptus didgeridoos that come from Australia, made by Aborigines. Now, those were the only didgeridoos for thousands and thousands of years. Just in the past few decades, I'm going to say maybe since the 1960s, the rest of the world has discovered this instrument. Maybe earlier, maybe a couple decades before that, but really in the 1950s or 1960s, it was discovered by everybody else. So, as the rest of the world sort of gradually started developing appreciation for this instrument, people started to realize you didn't have to get a termite hollowed eucalyptus tree trunk from Australia to have a didgeridoo. And so they started making them out of other woods. And I have a couple of didgeridoos here made from the agave cactus plant. There's several different kinds of that plant. This is the kind that grows the tall, woody stalks. It's called the century plant because it blooms like once every 80 to 100 years or something like that. But it grows these amazing, huge, lightweight stalks that make beautiful didgeridoos. Let me show you a couple of those. So the agave cactus plant grows in Arizona, in New Mexico, and in parts of Southern California. So it's much easier for Americans to make didgeridoos out of these than termite hollowed eucalyptus. And they sound amazing. There's a huge range of sizes. This is not even close to the biggest one I've ever seen. It's the biggest one I have, but I've seen them that are like 1.5 feet longer than this one. But this is about the smallest one I've ever seen. So here's the difference, how they sound.
Hey, shh.
Various other woods. There are bamboo, there are hardwood didgeridoos made from walnut and cherry and all kinds of other woods. I don't have some of those others today, but the idea is that basically any kind of wood that you can get a hollow tube out of can work as a didgeridoo. Then people started to figure out, well, they don't even have to be wood. Any hollow tube that's going to be the right size, that's comfortable on your mouth, or that you can make comfortable on your mouth, can make a didgeridoo. And different materials sound different, but it's much easier when you can use any tube that you want to for a didgeridoo. So I'll show you some of the non-wooden didgeridoos out there. This is my first didgeridoo. The first didgeridoo I ever played. This is a hollow this is a cardboard tube. It's the thick kind of cardboard, just like the kind that butcher paper comes on. It's not like your wrapping paper or paper towel tubes. Those are just too thin. If you blow on one of those, it'll just come apart. It won't work very well. But these thick cardboard tubes are amazing. And I learned to play on this. I actually played it in a rock and roll band. It was my didgeridoo for 2 years. Check it out.